Hello, this is Malorian, and I'll be covering a doubles game that me and my brother played against another two players from the club here. On their side, they had an Ogre team and a Warriors of Chaos team, a 2250 side, and on our side, we used Dwarves each. We basically just made two lists from my own Dwarves, and so it really worked well where we could design it together to be working together, whereas on their side, you can tell it was two separate armies and not really a lot put into finding a way to making them work together. So if we're looking at their side from across, from left to the right, those front knights on the left side, those are actually mounted marauders. Then there's some knights behind, a huge block of 30 Nurgle warriors with a character in there. Then there's a group of Khorne chosen, and there's that Khorne demon prince special character in there, and behind there's a Tzeentch sorcerer on disc. Then there's some Iron Guts, and then that black model there is actually a Bruiser. Beside them, there's more Iron Guts, Butcher, and then you have this super unit of Bulls with another Bruiser in there. Then more Iron Guts, then he had some more Bulls, and off on the right flank he had some Man-Eaters with a Tyrant way over there. On our side, we deployed mainly around this hill, and you can see in front of the hill we had Warriors, Organ Gun, Longbeards, Flame Cannon, Hammerers, and we have the Lord and BSB in there, then Organ Gun, Longbeards, and Warriors on the far side, on the right. Then on the hill we had all of our other war machines. We had a Bolt Thrower, then our Quarrelers, Cannon, Grudge Thrower, Cannon, Quarrelers, and Bolt Thrower, and also my Rune Lords back there. On the far left we have 20 Thunderers, and there's a character in with them as well. Then there's the Gyrocopter. You can't see in this picture, but on the far left I didn't have a new place to put my Rangers, Quarrelers, so they're in the far left side, and then that one Thane is out in the middle there. That's because he has a 1+ save and a 2+ ward against all shooting. Not on the board, I have a unit of 20 miners and a Thane that's going to be joining them, and then two other units of 7 miners, and then he has that Wolfrek special character with some marauders that are going to be coming in too. So looking at this game, the main thing that's going to be here is that the Ogre player deployed first and basically took up the entire center, whereas then the Warriors player was forced to deploy in that back corner. So from our side, the battle plan is going to mainly just to try and pin in and slow down those Warriors of Chaos, while everything just concentrated on these Ogres, knock those out, and then by that time some of those big units of the Warriors of Chaos should be getting dangerously close, and then everything will just concentrate on that. And if we have to take one hit and lose a unit, so be it. By that point we should be doing okay points wise. This next picture here just kind of shows our dwarf hill formation a little bit better. Then here's a picture of the Warriors of Chaos main line back there in the back left corner. Here's a picture of his super ogre unit here in the center, and I think he did this because he thought that he got rank bonuses for being 3 wide. There seemed to be a couple of rules thing they weren't really sure with, so that's why that unit's like that, and unfortunately it isn't very effective at that size. So they get first turn, and this is showing that on the far right those lead belchers are actually his Man-Eaters, and that model with no head or arms or anything is actually his Tyrant. So he's moving up this right flank here, and I have more pictures to show this better, but I think they were really worried about that big long line of Thunderers we had on the left flank, so that side really held back while everything pushed forward. So if we go to this next picture, you can see here that those two warrior units are still kind of pinned in there, and that huge unit of 30 warriors are going to be kind of running into that terrain, so they're going to have trouble getting through there. Meanwhile, I have on the left side those mounted marauders with the knights behind, so I'm going to have to go and stop them from breaking through and causing trouble. And then finally this picture just really shows how things were scaled back on their left, or the left flank here, just to make sure to try and stay out of range of those Thunderers of ours. So then on our turn 1, my Gyrocopter flies back to just go and make sure to march block everything back there. I have that one Thane that moved up to block his horsemen, just really to pin in those knights. But after then, when we shot them some quarrelers, we found out they're not knights at all. The entire block was actually a block of 10 mounted marauders with full command and throwing axes. So really now, all of a sudden, whereas I thought I was going to be pinning them in, now my Thane can probably deal with that unit all by himself. So that's going to be no problem whatsoever. And then I don't have a picture of it, but really all of our shooting went to messing up their ogre units in the center there, and he actually got fairly lucky where we hit that main ogre unit with the flame cannon, which actually does D3 wounds, and hit 5 models and wounded 5 models with it. But unfortunately, when we rolled for number of wounds, we got 3 1s and 2 2s. So, it's now down to 6 models, but they're, it's not as bad as it could have been. So here we're on their second turn, and that Wolfric character showed up, and they're now behind us on the right. I'm not overly worried about that. I know I have miners coming, and if nothing else, I can turn around those warriors to go and charge them. However, my anvil's already been letting me down, as on that first turn I tried setting that Thane into the mounted marauders on the left flank, and I rolled a 1, so it didn't work, but luckily it didn't blow up. So if that doesn't continue, I'll be fine. This next picture showing the left side, he pulls back. He's really worried about this gyrocopter. So those horsemen are moving back to throw their axes at it. Didn't actually end up doing anything. And that sorcerer is moving over to try and see it as well. Meanwhile, he's trying to move up, but everything's getting so bogged up here that there's not very much he can do. Those warriors are now right up to the trees, and between march blocking and having to move half distance if they're going through the woods, they're not really going anywhere. So then after the ogres move, this is what it really looks like in this picture here. So next turn, I know for them, they're going to be charging, and there's nothing really I can do about it. I just need to go and move up and take it all away, all those impact hits. And here on the right, those units are moving in again, the man-eaters and the tyrant, but I can deal with the main line first, and then I'll turn around and deal with them. So on our turn, my big unit of miners shows up, neither the small ones do, and they get anviled into the back of Wolfric's unit. I beat them, and they get away, but at least I take their banner. Otherwise, all my main units are moving up to his, and in my shooting, or our shooting, we really whittled down those units. He passed all his panic tests. He's really good with his panic tests, but now I'm really not worried when he charges me. I mean, even with his still bigger ogre unit against my hammers, I got 2 characters in there. That's all going to hold. So it's all looking really good right here. And off on the left flank here, his sorcerer's taken a wound because he's already miscast, and even though it was only a strength 2 hit, he still managed to wound himself. So he wasn't too happy with that. And my gyrocopter just moved over to the other side, so that he's still march blocking everything while that one Thane's hunting down those horsemen. And I'll just cover what happened with their big charges and what happened there in the next video.